Entitled Mom Destroys Store Display Over a Sold-Out Toy. I work at a busy toy store in the mall, and yesterday I witnessed the ultimate entitled parent meltdown. I've handled my share of difficult customers, but this was next level. It all started over the newest must-have toy of the season, the Wonder Unicorn Princess doll. For weeks, we'd been hyping this toy with big posters, flashy displays, and a giant stack of faux castle boxes at the front of the store. And as expected, it was selling out like crazy. By mid-afternoon, we had completely run out of stock. The only trace of the doll left in the store was our big promotional display, which, importantly, had no real dolls in it, just empty boxes, and one demo unit strapped down at the top. So it's around 5 p.m. and I'm manning the register, already drained from a long day of apologizing to parents that were sold out. That's when I hear a sharp clacking of heels and an angry huff. I look up and see a woman marching toward me with a little girl trailing behind her. The woman, let's call her entitled mom, EM, has that "can I speak to your manager" haircut and a face like thunder. The girl, maybe 6 years old, is sniffling, eyes red like she'd been crying. EM slams an ad flyer down on the counter and says, very loudly, "You advertised the Wonder Unicorn Princess for sale today." She jabs the flyer. "Yep, it's our mailer showing the doll. We've been to 3 stores already, and my daughter needs one. But your shelf is empty." I brace myself. "I am so sorry," I begin. "They've been extremely popular, and we actually sold out earlier today. It's been flying off the shelves. I can count—" She cuts me off with a snarl. "Sold out? That's ridiculous. We came all this way. The ad said it'd be available starting today." Her tone is accusatory, like we personally wronged her. The little girl clings to EM's leg, whimpering, "Mommy, you promised," which only makes EM more agitated. I explain as calmly as possible that we had a limited stock and so many people showed up early. By noon, they were all gone, I say. "I really apologize. We're expecting another shipment next week, and I'd be happy to call another store location for you or arrange a rain check." Apparently, those were the wrong answers. EM's eyes widen in anger. Next week? Her birthday party is tomorrow. I promised her this doll." She's practically shouting now. A few other customers glance over. I shoot the little girl an empathetic look. She looks heartbroken, clutching a small plush unicorn she probably brought along in anticipation of a new toy friend. Trying to de-escalate, I offer, "We do have similar dolls. Maybe the Magic Pony or Glitter Pixie? They're the same price and also really popular." I even pick up a Glitter Pixie from a nearby shelf to show her. EM recoils as if I'm holding out a dead rat. "No, it has to be the Wonder Unicorn. That's what we came for." She snaps her fingers at me. Yes, actually snaps, and barks, "Check the back. I know you have more in the back." Quick note, we do not have more in the back. I know for a fact we're wiped out. But people like EM never believe it when you say you're out. Clearly I'm just hiding the precious unicorns for fun. Nonetheless, I agree to go double check. Sure, let me just consult our inventory system and make absolutely sure we don't have one tucked away. I step into the stockroom for a moment, take a few deep breaths, and maybe silently scream into the void, then come back out and tell her as gently as I can, "I'm very sorry, ma'am. We really have none left." Before I even finish, EM explodes. "This is outrageous! False advertising!" She snatches up the flyer again and waves it in my face. "It says available starting today. We came on the release day on purpose. How can you be sold out? What kind of incompetence?" I try to interject with more apologies and an offer to call the store across town that might have a few left, but she's not having it. The little girl is now full-on crying, and EM turns to her, loudly lamenting, "I'm so sorry, sweetie. These horrible people sold all the dolls. They ruined your birthday." She shoots me a death glare. I feel about 2 inches tall, even though I know it's not my fault. At this point, my manager, a chill middle-aged dude, has noticed the commotion and comes over. "Is there a problem here?" he asks in that professional but firm voice. EM immediately rounds on him. "Oh, are you the manager? Good. Maybe you can tell me why your employee is refusing to sell me a Wonder Unicorn doll and is instead trying to shove some other garbage down our throats." Yes, she really said garbage. At this point, a small crowd of parents and kids is kind of semi-watching from behind the Lego aisle. Manager gives me a quick quizzical look. I quickly explain. She's upset because we ran out of Wonder Unicorn Princesses. I've offered to check other stores or provide a rain check, but that's not good enough, EM interrupts. She has one protective, or possessive, hand on her daughter's shoulder. It's my daughter's birthday. We pre-ordered the cake and a Wonder Unicorn theme and everything. This store should have stocked more. This is completely unacceptable. Manager remains calm. Ma'am, I apologize. We had a very large stock, but the demand was unprecedented. Unfortunately, we have no dolls left in the store. If there was any way, EM isn't listening. Her eyes land on the tall display behind us, the one shaped like a castle with a big foam unicorn on top, made out of stacked empty boxes, and a demo doll encased at the very peak. What about that? She points aggressively. Manager frowns. That is just a display model. It's not an actual product for sale, and it's secured to the display. EM scoffs, waving a hand. It's a doll in a box, isn't it? Take it down for me. You can just use one of these other boxes to rebuild your display or whatever. My daughter will take that one. I jump in, trying to sound as sympathetic yet firm as possible. Ma'am, that doll up there is just a shell for show. It's bolted in and likely incomplete. It doesn't have all the parts a normal one would have. It's basically a hollow demo. This is true. The display unit is literally half a doll for weight reasons. EM crosses her arms. Well, maybe if you incompetent people hadn't sold every last one, we wouldn't be asking for the display. My daughter deserves something for all this disappointment. The little girl looks up at the display. Her tears sort of pause as she watches the back and forth. I can tell she's confused, probably wondering if that castle holds the key to her birthday happiness. My manager keeps his cool. I really am sorry. How about this? I will personally ensure one is held for you from our next shipment, and we'll give you a 10% discount for the inconvenience. I know that doesn't solve tonight's party, but maybe you could print a picture of the doll to include as an IOU, and then... Apparently that suggestion was the final straw. EM's face goes red. Are you kidding me? An IOU for a 6-year-old's birthday? That will make me look like a fool? No, we are not leaving without that doll. And with that, she suddenly lunges towards the display. Manager and I both shout, "Ma'am, ma'am!" in alarm. EM begins climbing the cardboard castle like King Kong scaling a building. The display is not designed for this. It's teetering as she hoists herself up one level of stacked boxes. Get down from there, manager yells, moving toward her. I'm frozen for a second, utterly gobsmacked that this grown woman is literally climbing a toy castle in heels. Her daughter starts wailing, "Mommy, no! Mommy, come down!" EM ignores everyone and keeps scrambling up. She actually kicks a box aside, nearly losing her footing, but she catches the side of a shelf for support. The display is starting to come apart. Empty toy boxes cascading down. A few customers gasp and back away for safety. I step forward, afraid she's going to hurt herself, or someone else. She reaches the top tier where the demo doll is zip-tied. With a triumphant grunt, EM grabs the doll and yanks. It's secured with multiple ties, so all she manages is to tilt the whole top structure. Below her, the cardboard castle base starts to collapse. "Ma'am, watch out!" I shout, instinctively rushing forward. Too late. The entire display gives way with a loud crack and whoosh of collapsing cardboard and plastic. EM rides it down in a shower of torn packaging and foam pieces. It's like an avalanche of toy boxes. She and the demo doll go crashing to the floor with a heavy thud. For a moment, there's stunned silence in the store. I'm standing there with my mouth open. EM is sprawled amid the wreckage, the demo doll clutched in her hand, still half attached to a piece of torn cardboard. The little girl is screaming and crying for her mom. Other kids are crying now too, either scared or in chaos sympathy. I snap out of it and rush to EM's side to see if she's hurt. Manager is already on his walkie-talkie calling for mall security and maybe an ambulance. Miraculously, EM starts to move. She's not unconscious. She groans and rolls onto her side. I can see some bruises forming on her arms and a nasty scrape on her leg. Her ankle looks a bit twisted. But she's alive and doesn't appear critically injured. The demo doll, however, did not survive unscathed. Its hair is mangled, and one eye has fallen out, dangling by a spring. Low-key creepy. EM still has a death grip on it. Now the aftermath chaos. Mall security guards arrive running. One kneels by EM, the other starts asking what happened. EM, to my utter disbelief, immediately switches into victim mode. She wails, "Ow, my back, my leg. I need an ambulance. This display is dangerous. It just collapsed under me." "Ma'am, it collapsed because you climbed it, but sure." Customers all around are muttering and shaking their heads. A couple of braver ones pipe up to security. "She was climbing it, and she knocked it over herself." The guard gently tries to take the doll from her so he can help her up, but EM snarls and clutches it tighter. "Don't you dare! I'm not letting go of this." She then points at me and manager and screeches, "They attacked me! They were trying to keep the doll from my daughter and they made me fall!" I'm literally aghast. "That's not what happened to ALL," I stammer. I look to manager for backup. Manager is already talking calmly to the other security guard, explaining and pointing to our CCTV camera in the corner. "We have everything on video," I hear him say. Thank goodness. EM is now crying, performatively, as the first guard and now an arriving paramedic help her sit up. The little girl finally rushes over to her mom now that things seem a bit safer, and EM pulls her into a hug. It would be a touching mother-daughter moment if not for, the absolute mayhem she caused. Paramedics check EM's vitals. She's milking it, groaning about her back and neck, and insisting she needs to be put on a stretcher. The demo doll is still clutched in one hand like a teddy bear. Meanwhile, manager and I are answering security's questions. I notice a few bystanders are still around, one filming on their phone. Great, I'm going to be on r/public freakout or something, I sigh internally. Manager points out the obvious dangers of what EM did and notes the damage to the store. Several $100s easily, plus the destroyed display. As the paramedics load EM onto a stretcher, she insisted, "I can't walk, you need to carry me." EM suddenly seems to remember her original mission. From the stretcher, she weakly calls out, "Where's my daughter? Kid's name, come here, honey." The little girl, still hiccuping sobs, stands by the stretcher. EM pats the doll, or what's left of it, and says, "I got your doll, baby. Mommy got it for you." The kid just looks at the doll's dangling eye and busted face and starts crying anew, clearly terrified of this nightmare fuel version of her toy. EM doesn't seem to notice her daughter's distress. She's too busy glaring at me and manager. Through gritted teeth, as they begin to wheel her out, she hisses, "This isn't over. You'll be hearing from me. I'll sue this place for every penny. You think you can treat customers like this?" Manager just shakes his head and responds calmly, "Ma'am, please take care of yourself. We'll be filing our own report." Savage in a polite way, my manager. As they roll EM and her sobbing daughter out of the store, security and paramedics in tow, the entire place is a wreck. The beautiful castle display, utterly demolished. Toys and boxes strewn everywhere, a crowd of stunned shoppers looking on. And me? I'm standing there in a cold sweat, heart pounding, hands still shaking from the adrenaline. I wish I could say that was the end of it. The crazy lady got carted off and justice was served. But oh no, as I would soon find out, that was just the beginning of my nightmare. Little did I know, the chaos was far from over. Update 1. Hi again. I didn't expect I'd be updating this so soon, but oh boy, things have escalated since the toy store fiasco. It's been one day, and I'm still in disbelief about what's happened after the incident. So remember how EM screeched, "I'll sue," as she was being taken out on a stretcher? Well, she certainly tried to make good on that threat. In her own twisted way, here's what went down. Last night, after the store closed, I gave a full statement to mall security and my manager. We reviewed the CCTV footage, which plainly showed EM climbing the display and essentially causing her own downfall. Security said they'd pass everything to the police in case of any legal follow-up. I went home exhausted, thinking, at least the truth is on our side. I figured the worst was over. She'd embarrassingly hurt herself and left. I was wrong. This morning, I get a call from my manager. Let's call him Dave. He sounds somewhere between angry and anxious. "Brace yourself," he says. "That lady from yesterday? She's telling the police a very different story." Turns out EM had wasted no time. Late last night, she went to the police station, after the hospital I assume, and filed a formal complaint against our store, and specifically against me. In her version, we employees were negligent and violent. She claimed I refused to help her, that I physically pushed her when she tried to get the display doll, causing her to fall and injure herself. And the craziest part, she said that after she fell, we detained her daughter and wouldn't let the child leave with her. In other words, she basically accused us of kidnapping her kid. Yes, you read that right. She actually told the police I, or we, held her daughter hostage amidst the chaos. I cannot make this up. So a couple hours later, I find myself at the police station with Dave, giving our side of the story to an officer. Thankfully, mall security had provided the CCTV footage, and a few shoppers had given statements supporting us. The officer, who was aware this sounded like a bogus report, had me recount everything. I told him every detail. The sold-out toy, her tantrum, her climbing the display, the aftermath. I also mentioned how she was yelling that we attacked her, which was completely false. The officer nodded and said something like, yeah, her report had some inconsistencies. That's polite cop speak for her story is BS. They had already seen the camera footage which backed us up 100%. Thank God for cameras and sane witnesses. Long story short, the police were not amused by EM's false accusations. In fact, I learned she might be in bigger trouble now, filing a false police report, possibly attempted fraud if she tries to sue for damages based on lies, plus the property damage to our store. The officer even said if she hadn't been in the hospital last night, they'd probably have arrested her for her behavior on the spot. So I'm feeling a bit relieved hearing all this at the station. The truth is coming out, right? We're in the clear, right? Well, not so fast. By afternoon, EM caught wind that her narrative wasn't sticking, because the police wanted to talk to her again, this time about her actions. And guess what our dear entitled mom did? She disappeared. The cops couldn't reach her at the number/address she gave. Wouldn't be shocked if it was outdated or fake info. They actually have a warrant out now for her regarding the false report and the property damage, so she's literally avoiding arrest at the moment. You'd think someone facing arrest would lay low, but this is EM we're talking about. Laying low is not her style. Instead, she's found another way to fight. She's going after me and the store in the court of public opinion. By evening, our store's Facebook and Yelp pages were bombarded with negative reviews and ranting posts about the evil toy store staff. These reviews were very obviously written by EM or people she knows. Who else would call me out by name in a review, accusing me of physically assaulting a customer and stealing a child's toy? She's making it sound like I beat her up and snatched the doll out of the hands of her poor child. It's insane. One post on a local community Facebook group, yeah, she went there, described me as a dangerous young man who pushed a mother holding her child, causing severe injuries. Holding her child? The kid was nowhere near her when she fell. And I'm dangerous? She literally climbed a display and nearly crushed me with it. My manager Dave is furious about the defamation. The store's corporate office had to disable comments on our social media temporarily because of the flood of troll accounts clearly linked to EM or to her family/friends. Posting things like, employees tried to kidnap a child. It's absolutely wild. We've saved all those posts as evidence. Corporate's legal team is now very quietly getting involved. While EM is hiding from the cops, she's blasting us online, likely to drum up sympathy or pressure us into, I don't know, dropping charges? Settling? It's nonsense because we haven't actually filed any lawsuit. We're just cooperating with police. As for me, personally, I'm okay physically, but mentally? Shaken. I did nothing wrong doing my job, and now I'm being named online as some kind of child-abusing monster. I've had a few random people send me threatening DMs because of her posts. Stuff like, how dare you hurt that woman and her kid? Karma will get you. It's terrifying how quickly someone's lies can spread. The silver lining, many folks in the community aren't buying her story. Those who were in the store have chimed in on some of those posts to set the record straight, and some have tagged the mall security statement that pretty much says the store staff acted heroically to prevent further injury. Heroically might be generous, but hey, I'll take it. Still, this isn't over, not by a long shot. EM is still on her crusade. She hasn't been arrested yet, as far as I know. The warrant is active, but if she's laying low at a friend's, it could take time. And now I have the joy of possibly testifying if this goes to court, or at least giving more statements for the defamation angle. Honestly, I just want it to end. I want to go back to selling toys in peace. But something tells me EM isn't going to slink away quietly. People like her thrive on the drama. Sure enough, just as I was finishing this update, I got a message from a coworker. Apparently, a local news station's reporter came by the store asking for comments because a woman is alleging mistreatment at that location. So EM has possibly contacted the media now. We, politely, declined to comment and referred them to corporate. I can only imagine what she'd say on TV. My life has turned into a circus thanks to one entitled person's tantrum. I'll update again when the next crazy chapter unfolds. Wish me luck. P.S. To those who responded to my original post, thanks for the support. It's good to know not everyone in the world is nuts. Update 2. I'm back with what will likely be the final update to this saga. I'd hoped to report that EM had been arrested and that I got some justice, but reality is messier. When I last updated, EM had gone AWOL with a warrant out for her. Well, she finally resurfaced by filing a lawsuit. Yes, you read that right. This woman, who was literally wanted by the police for lying, had a lawyer send a legal notice to my company and to me personally, claiming damages. We received notice of the lawsuit earlier this week. EM is suing the store for negligence, emotional distress, and injury, and, because why not, she's suing me for assaulting her and false imprisonment of her child. It's beyond absurd. Her complaint basically rehashes her fantasy version of events, but now with legal buzzwords. She claims I forcefully shoved her, causing her grievous injury and trauma, and that the store's unsafe environment led to her suffering, etc. She's asking for an eye-watering amount of money in damages. You can imagine how furious and nervous I was when I read that crap. The nerve of this lady. It's so blatant that it's a revenge move because her police ploy failed. Now she wants to bleed us for money or force a settlement. Corporate immediately got their lawyers on it. They assure us, and me, that they have our backs. The security footage alone would demolish her claims in court. Still, being personally named in a lawsuit is freaking scary. I've never even been to court beyond jury duty. Now my name is on an official complaint as a defendant, alongside my store. My company's lawyers filed a response to get her suit thrown out. And they are also in contact with the police, because guess what? EM still hasn't turned herself in on the warrant. The audacity. She's suing us but won't address the fact that she's wanted for making false statements. Things got even weirder when, a couple of days ago, EM's husband showed up at the store. I didn't even know there was a husband in the picture. He never appeared during any of this until now. He came in during my shift, in plain clothes, and quietly asked for me by name. My spider sense immediately tingled, and I asked a coworker to grab manager Dave before engaging. Dave came out to the floor, and the husband identifies himself. He actually seemed calm and polite. He said something like, "I think we need to talk about what happened with my wife." We led him to the back office with another supervisor present for safety. This man then proceeds to apologize on her behalf. He said he was sorry for how things went down, and that EM has been under a lot of stress. According to him, their daughter's birthday had been an extremely emotional time. No kidding. And EM acted out of character. I cut to the chase, asking if he knows she's suing us and me, and that she's dodging the cops. He looked genuinely pained and admitted he's aware, and that he doesn't agree with how she's handling this. I got the feeling he's been dragged into this mess unwillingly. He even said their own lawyer warned EM that pursuing this would likely backfire, but she wouldn't be dissuaded. Sounds about right for her. He basically asked if there's any way to resolve things outside of court-like. Could the store just give her something? Money? The damn doll? To satisfy her, so she'd drop all this. Dave firmly told him that at this point, with the damage done and the lies told, there's no chance. Corporate and law enforcement are involved, and it's bigger than a quick favor. The husband sighed and nodded, like he expected that answer. Before leaving, he handed me a handwritten note. It was from EM, the irony of her not facing me herself. In it, she sort of apologizes to me. Well, not really. The note said, "I'm sorry things escalated. I never meant for anyone to get hurt, but I was desperate to make my child happy. You left me no choice. I hope you can understand a mother's love. Left me no choice." That line made me clench my fists. Climbing a display and lying about me was a choice, lady. But I held my tongue with her husband there. I just said, tell her I hope she gets the help she needs, and let him go. So that's where we're at. Legally, her lawsuit is likely to be laughed out of court if it even gets that far. My company's lawyers filed motions to dismiss and even hinted at a countersuit for defamation and damages to the store. There's also talk of pursuing her for the property destruction costs. If she continues to ignore the warrant, she'll have far bigger problems than a missing toy. Personally, this whole thing has taken a toll. I haven't slept well. Every time I see a mom and kid in the store, I flinch a little, half expecting an outburst. I'm also hyper-paranoid about doing everything by the book now, more than usual, because I feel like I'm under a microscope. We haven't heard from EM directly since the lawsuit filing, aside from the note via hubby. Her online smear campaign has quieted down, possibly on advice of her attorney, or maybe because of the pending legal action. A few of her wild posts were actually taken down. I suspect someone informed her that posting blatant lies publicly would sink her lawsuit and possibly add to that defamation countersuit,